Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my #1 Sentai Gozyuger episode commentary and reviews. Apologies for this one coming out a little bit later than normal. Let's just put it down to it being episode 13. Unlucky for some. But yeah, if you do like what you see in the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Obviously, it means a lot for a small channel like this. But in the meantime, this is episode 13, Housekeeper Run, Ryugi's Manners. Let's get into the episode. So the episode opens with Hirero and Ryugi walking down some steps, and Hirero's eating a sausage on a stick. Although apparently it's coming out of his wages and he needs to take the supply runs more seriously. But as they're walking along, an older gentleman sees them and he criticises their walking around eating, saying kids these days. As a circle opens behind him, and he hears someone say, "Would you like to teach him some manners?" Before a hand ends up on his shoulder, and he becomes No.1 World's Manners #1. Politely introducing himself to the two Gozyugers and handing over a business card, which Ryugi accepts gracefully. And Hiroro says, "We're going to kick your butt," which apparently is bad manners, and he ends up with a chain around his neck that every time he's rude is going to get heavier. As Ryugi prepares to take care of it, a whistle's blown and everyone stops as Car Ranger comes in. Turns out the No.1 monster's foot was 1.5 centimeters into the road, and Ryugi recognizes the voice. The No.1 monster attempts to present Car Ranger with a business card, and she takes offence at being offered something so pointy, kicking him into orbit before calling Ryugi Master. And she performs the classic Car Ranger pose before turning into a maid, the Bakugami family's maid. And she's here to take Ryugi home. As Hiroro asks, "Do you know her?" Ryugi says, "We're running." And boy does he run. And she chases after him. Out of breath and thinking he's escaped, Ryugi enters the cafe, where Kinjiro says he's already been serving a customer. And it's the maid, who says it's some excellent coffee. She tells him not to underestimate her when he asks how he knows about the place. And even Kinjiro's surprised when she calls him young master. Hirero finally turns up, weighed down by the chain, saying that Ryugi should be able to remove it with his stupid strength, and the maid freezes Hirero and Kinjiro, telling him not to call the young master stupid. It turns out the ring's power is stop. Turns out Ryugi is heir to an extremely prestigious and well-known family, full of doctors. It turns out the maid has serviced the family for generations, and it's her job to ensure the young master's safety. But Ryugi refuses to go, because he is Lord Tegasword's humble servant, and won't be following in his father's footsteps. Even as she says his dad's going to be furious, Ryugi says he's going to beat the No.1, and leaves, with Hirero following, still asking for the chain to be taken off. As the maid looks at a pressed flower charm and holds it to her chest. Elsewhere, many people are being weighed down with the chains from No.1 Manners, as Ryugi excuses himself and introduces himself to challenge Mr. Manners No.1 in a manners battle. Round 1 is all about entering someone's house. No.1 Manners passes when he knocks politely and hands over a gift. And Ryugi passes when he takes off his shoes and kneels without ever presenting his rear to the family. Hirero, on the other hand, just walks straight in, grabs the guy, and says he's starting with a handshake. But because he took a step up with his shoes, his chain becomes even heavier, despite saying that the No.1 monster went in with dirty shoes as well. The second round is table manners, and No.1 monster passes by using the outer cutlery first. Ryugi passes by saying, "Don't rudely fold your napkin when you've finished." And Hirero manages to polish off a stack of plates of food and then drinks the water in the finger bowl, which he's told is for washing your fingers, and he's failed, and his chain becomes even heavier. As he asks, what the heck is a finger bowl? Round 3. No1 Manners opens a sliding door correctly, slowly, and a bit at a time. Ryugi says that when you walk on tatami mats, you slide your feet. Herero takes the sliding feet to heart, but he's told it's rude to step on the edges of a tatami mat. And again, he fails, and he's pulled to the floor by the weight of his chain. As No1 Manners says his manners are atrocious, and to reflect on this as he shocks Herero. Back in No1 world, Bouquet is seriously worshipping her Rikuo altar that she's made. Goryudo realises who it is. He tells Bouquet that he's sure they'll be together someday. As Shining Knife and Sweet Cake come in, saying they've actually scored a ring, showing off the Gingerman ring. Goryudo says that's good, and he's going to take the team's rings. Back in the real world, the Manners fight is still going on. As No1 Manners compliments Ryugi, and Herero questions being called mangy. As round 4 begins, but it's stopped by the Maid. As to ensure the young master's safety, she engages and becomes Car Ranger Red. She fights the No1 monster, telling Ryugi to stay back as it's damaged, even managing to cause some damage to the monster when it traps her sword, but she's able to charge up and attack while he's holding it. But it tells her that her manner of combat is rude, and she ends up with a chain as well. As Ryugi transforms with a bow, saying combat should begin and end with respect. And the final round begins. The two bow to each other before taking their fighting stances, and combat begins. During the fight, No1 Manners keeps criticising, but as the pair run to the side, No1 Manners trips over Herero, saying he's in the way and those with no manners don't deserve to live. But he pushes Herero too far, who bites his leg, before saying he's had enough. And as he forces himself to his feet, saying he's had enough of the Etacrap, Herero transforms, using the added strength of his transformed self to get to his feet. And how? Slowly stepping forward, he uses the chain's weight to his advantage with Manners' breach, headbutting the No1 monster at full force, breaking the chain, and points out that he's pretty sure it's rude to constantly being on someone's case about manners, which is also rude. And Ryugi gets a brainwave. As Shining Knife and Sweet Cake appear, accompanied by a robot piloted by the legendary Helper Cho. While No1 Manners is relieved to see them, Herero just says, oh great, more pains than the neck. But as Shining Knife says, how about surrendering your rings, he's hit with a green blast as the other Gozyugers arrive. Kinjiro says he'll take the big one as Samino and Rikuo transform, taking on Shining Knife and Sweet Cake. And Rikuo leaps off the building, and Take a Sword Green rises to the sky, telling him to be a good boy now. The No1 helper sends a barrage of missiles, as Kinjiro says, stop talking like that, knock it off. As she sends even more missiles up at him. As Leon and Unicorn fight Shining Knife and Sweet Cake, Unicorn uses her mind reading powers and finds out that they've got a ring before slashing away. And as the ring drops, she picks it up. Speaking of rings, Leon decides to use his new Gal Ranger ring. Trying to slash them with the purifying blade, it's blocked by Goryudo. As the No1 helper says it's time to put you to bed and launch in more rockets, Kinjiro is starting to lose it, since he's had enough of talking to him like some kind of saccharine nurse. As the Take a Sword launches up, And he says not a lot bothers him, but when people use baby talk with the elderly, as he uses Eagle Arrow shoots. And she says, screw you, I was only trying to be nice. As the No.1 mecha explodes. As Ryugi and Hiroi continue fighting No.1 manners, Ryugi says, I think I'm going to be #1 this time, because it's bad manners to keep rambling on. As No.1 Monster fires off more of its greeting cards until it runs out. Which even this admits is a clear breach of etiquette. As Ryugi walks up to him and holds out a hand saying he doesn't need business cards because it's been an honour meeting him. With his politeness being the finishing blow. As Ryugi asks Tegasaur to lend him a hand, performs finish finger Tyranno, pulling out the old guy from the No.1 Monster. As Ryugi throws the No.1 Monster into a building, takes out his Tyranno hammer, and starts playing squash. As No.1 Monster says it was very educational about etiquette before he explodes. And we finally get winner Goju Tyranno. As the Maid makes a reappearance, saying that Ryugi's become such a troublemaker and she can't allow it to continue. But Ryugi says he will not return home. As the Maid becomes more and more desperate, putting out her charm as the ring discharges a purple energy. And as she transforms with a scream, Ryugi is hit and powers down. As the Maid has become Berserk Red Racer, holding a metal bat with nails in it. And she says she'll just have to take the ring and drag his ass back home herself. As the episode ends. Well, how can I start my thoughts on this without saying, finally, we finally get some backstory for Ryugi. And he actually turned out to be a rich kid with, you know, a family of history of being doctors. Really good doctors. So, obviously, we knew before that his dad was a doctor. Now we know more about the fact that his dad's pretty damn angry with him and really rich. I don't quite get what the Maid meant when she said she's been serving the family for generations. She doesn't look that old. It was interesting seeing like the etiquette stuff. Some of it I knew. Some of it was new. Like, I didn't know you're not supposed to tread on the edge of tatami mats, or that you're supposed to slide your feet along them. That's got to wear your socks out pretty quick, hasn't it? But yeah, this episode felt a lot better than the last one. It was much more enjoyable. And I gotta say, it was fun again. There was more humour back in it. And it was so nice seeing, like, Car Ranger back in it. Like, when I was working my way through these box sets behind me, I kind of finished O-Range and I was sort of having a bit of burnout. And also I was really dreading Car Ranger, because Power Rangers Turbo was what made me give up on Power Rangers as a kid. And Car Ranger really drew me back in. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, seeing them come back was really nice. I do wish they'd given the Maid a better fitting costume. Like, everyone else's costume has fit really well so far. But the Maid's is all baggy and loose, and it just doesn't look as nice as, like, you know, the proper, like, tight-fitting one. Although, maybe they just didn't have the budget for a female version of the suit. And they wanted, like, just the one suit that, obviously, a male one, probably like the Ryugi suit actor's going to wear later in the season. So that could be the reason, I guess, but little disappointing that it just doesn't look as nice as some of the others have. Do you want to get down? Okay. But yeah, I think one of the things that like drew me in with this episode was they brought the fun back. They brought the fun back. Also, it was quite nice when Rico like transformed into Gal Reds, and as he transformed, he went Gal. It's just the little touches. It's the little touches. Um, I obviously again apologies for this episode being late. Um, the place where I get the episodes from didn't put the link up until quite late. I did record some bits yesterday, and I've basically been editing since I got home from work, while refreshing my memory so I could do this talking bit. So yeah, day late, but we've got it out finally. But yeah, also interesting how she's really, we've got a berserk red, and also that horn that played when she turned into Berserk Car Ranger or Berserk Red Racer. Get my tongue tied there. Was that the horn for the Bowser? Like the bad guys from Car Ranger? Was that their horn? Because that sounded so familiar. That horn. I mean, I could be imagining it, but I did when I went to bed. I made the missus suffer because before I put on anything that she wants to watch, I may or may not have put on the first episode of Car Ranger. So hearing that horn, I didn't notice it the first time I watched the episode, but watching it again while editing, it sounds so familiar. I swear that's like the Balzac horn. But like I said, I could be wrong. But yeah, if it is, that's a really nice touch. It really is. But yeah, so I'm going to edit this into what I've already done and upload it. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll go back to being #1 Gozyuger YouTuber next week and get it back out on the Sunday. I'll see you next week, guys.